Sometimes you just can't beat the feeling of holding down W and running it down, being an absolute menace on site. And if you main agents like Jett, Raze, or Neon, then you most likely know the adrenaline rush that I'm really talking about here. Fast-paced gameplay, taking first contact, and drawing first bloods. Those are just a few of the predestined responsibilities that befall a duelist main. But if you think that's what they're all about, well, then I present to you the ultimate duelist guide for 2025. And to kick things off, let's answer the question, what the heck is a duelist, man? But before we get into it, if you feel like you've been struggling in ranked recently, well, then you're not alone. We've got a treat for you here. Over at SkillCapped, we've recently published a brand new Calm Aim course that details how any one of you could develop Radiant level aim in just a few weeks. Now, while most players just aim in whatever way feels most comfortable to them, it might surprise you to hear that there's actually a proper aiming technique that pros use to not only make themselves more consistent, but to also help them get more kills like this. In our course, we're going to teach you this proper aiming technique and even provide you with an aim training routine that you can use to instantly start improving your aim and climbing today. Now, unlike other routines, this is a simple, less than 15-minute exercise that you can do before you play that will do wonders for your aim. Not only that, but our site is literally backed by a rank improvement guarantee. So if you don't climb, you don't pay. If you're really looking to climb this act and you want to actually start fragging out in your matches, be sure to check out our new Calm Aim course using the link below. By Valorant's in-game definition, duelists are self-sufficient fraggers who their team expects through abilities and skills to get high frags and seek out engagements first. But don't let this description limit you and your expectations on the role. With utmost emphasis, you do not need to be the top frag of every single game. Can't state that enough. Duelists are arguably the most adept at claiming space due to their kit and mobility. And if there's anyone more suited for aggression that bears the least amount of consequence, should they get picked off, it is them. Therefore, even if you don't lead the scoreboard as the top fragger, don't beat yourself up too much about it. As long as you're able to create space for your team, gather info for instant trades, and divert the attention of enemies on site, ultimately converting rounds, then you are already doing a great job. So the next time you're not fragging out as much, just tell this to yourself. Was I able to create space for my team? Or did I help create opportunities to take the site and win the round? To further my point here, take it from tens. Does KD and headshot percentage really matter that much?
They really don't, especially if you're playing roles like Duelist. Like, you're going to have on and off games. Like, sometimes you're going to be running in, killing 3 people. But one thing that you can always keep consistent is to make the lives of your teammates easier by creating space. Like, when I'm playing Jett and I'm feeling it, I'll run in. I'll maybe get like 1 or 2. But then you know what that allows me, like our teammates, to do? They just scale up behind me, and it's a lot easier. Sometimes you might not be having a great game, but you could just be dashing into your smoke, being fucking annoying, and now you're like basically this presence, and they can't just like tunnel all on your team. Like, you've created space at this point.
We can also categorize the current roster of duelists based on 2 key identifiers: mobility and utility. By the name itself, you probably already have an idea of which duelists fall under mobility. They're basically duelists who can close gaps quickly, whether by themselves or with the help of their teammates. That's Jett with her dash and updraft, Raze with her satchels, and Neon with her sprint and slide. Yoru can also be considered a mobility duelist because of his gate crash, but he's kind of a hybrid due to his flash and trickster utility, so we're definitely going to keep him in the middle here. Now, on the other hand, you've got utility duelists who capitalize on their flashes and their shields to gain an advantage and create openings for themselves, which makes duels quite a bit easier. Phoenix with his curveball and hot hands, ISO with his undercut and his double tap, Reyna with her leer and dismiss. Now, although Reyna can move a lot faster and be invincible for a brief period due to her dismiss, it can only be activated after a frag, so it's not a readily available mobility skill. If your team is running a solo duelist comp, it's generally going to be ideal to stick with a mobility duelist. However, this doesn't mean utility duelists are incapable of achieving the same feat. It just so happens that movement abilities in Duelist are overpowered and worth taking advantage of. And on top of that, utility duelists shine best when they have a partner mobility duelist, simultaneously wreaking havoc in the battlefield. Entry fragging is one of the most pivotal responsibilities of a duelist. Be that as it may, don't get it twisted. Any role is capable of entry fragging, not just duelist. It just so happens that duelists are well equipped with utilities that are effective in creating space. And now when I say entry fragging, it pertains to the act of taking first contact while pushing a site or area to gain info, take space, and secure kills. You don't necessarily have to secure the 3 objectives every single time as well. Entry fragging can also be just being able to gather info while your team capitalizes or creates openings for your team to push forward. The best way to entry frag as a duelist is to start with confidence, especially in calling the shots and asking for assistance from your team. Take it from one of our Valorant veterans here, Ye.
I think with duelists, it's really important to be able to come up with a plan by yourself and ask for utility from your teammates. Since you're going to be one that's able to make a lot of plays, since you have probably a lot of movement abilities, because most duelists do, or you have a lot of flashes that enable you to take fights, you should ask from your teammates what you want, what you want smoked off, what you want cleared, and have them help you overall. And that's what some of the best duelist players do, is they ask for that utility and they make plans and they take initiative.
Before rushing in like a maniac, call the push with your team and make sure everyone's on the same page. If there's a dog or a drone, then let it take first contact while you capitalize on the info. If you're playing off a flash, comment with your team so they can push with you. Don't hesitate to call your actions and request assistance from your team so everyone can push site in full sync. Just like this call from Tins in his compat match on Haven.
I'm down to just dash in B. I'll go on top. Just smoke both sides if you can.
I'm gonna smoke a link. Wait.
Do you have 2 or 1?
Late through garage. No, only 1. Call it, don't smoke.
Smoke.
Smoke garage. Smoking 17.
Reloading.
Enemy remaining.
I can't really smoke.
So he calms what he's down to do before they push B. He lets his team know where he's planning to go and what he's going to need. ISO, as a support duelist, helps Tins push on top of the generator with his undercut and contingency towards C-Link. Sova darts backside for info, and Clove calms that he's going to smoke A-Link given that he only has 1 available. Now, while this, in most cases, is a glaring weakness to the side execute, the team was able to compensate because it was communicated beforehand. Therefore, they're going to be prepared to focus their attention a little bit more on the vulnerable area, which is C-Link. And just like that, they were able to take the site with ease, eventually winning the round. Now, of course, we have to consider that Tins' movement, aim, and reflexes are, well, absolutely goated. However, it really is as simple as letting your team know what you plan to do and playing off each other's utilities. With good comms and even greater synergy, you can easily overwhelm enemies and execute the best strategies. Now, I'm sure some of you might think here, I'm solo queuing and my teammates are absolute trash. It's useless to comms since they're not going to listen anyway. Here's the deal. Whether you're playing solo by choice or not, one thing remains consistent. Valorant is a team game. It's always going to be worth it to try to calm in order to improve your chances of winning and play the game how it's meant to be played. If they don't follow suit, then that's on them. If you want to improve as a duelist, never lower the standards of your gameplay because of the unmet expectations of other players. Trust me, it's way better than having to play your ranked games mindlessly just pretending everyone's an NPC when you aren't. Now, as I've mentioned earlier, your KD and headshot percentage aren't what matters most as a duelist. Being able to claim space for your team and create openings is already more than enough. The kills that you gain in the process merely kind of serve as a cherry on top of what a duelist role truly is. But of course, this does mean you have to be smart with how you scale toward the space you want to claim. Agile agents like Jett, Raze, and Neon are the best at capitalizing on the utilities of initiators when pushing or claiming space. For instance, let's break down the usual routes of a Jett player when attacking on Ascent B. 1. Smoke switch and dash into the switch. 2. Updraft and B main and dash into site. 3. Updraft and B main and dash into market or CT. Here, we use Jett as an example because of her unique updraft, dash, and smoke combo, plus she's just an overall powerful, agile duelist. Neon and Raze have their own way of closing gaps and creating space with the use of fast lane, sprint, and satchels, but you get the point I'm going at here. Back to the Jett example though, while all of the mentioned pathing can be effective, it's always going to be dependent on the situation that you're in. And despite Duelist being self-sufficient, these plays are best paired with your teammates' utilities to maximize the success of your push. So you also want to consider your buy and the enemy's tendencies when deciding which pathing to select here. For example, if you're having a hard time defending the site because you can't seem to counter the enemy's retake, try expanding the space you control during post-plant by going for the third pathing. What matters is you have a clear purpose in mind and your team is on the same page with it. Just because duelists are adept at aggression and mobility doesn't mean you should overheat here. Remember that the biggest contribution of a duelist is to make the lives of its team easier. You are innately a team player. If you get to pick one or two off while entry fragging and successfully taking space, well, that's awesome. That'll give your team an early and much desired advantage. If you continue pushing solo, trying to get more kills and end up getting picked off, you'd be wasting the advantage that you just gave your team. As a duelist, you have to also learn when to pause and take a breather as well. Got a good setup on site with multiple crosses and post-plant utilities? Then maybe it's not going to be a good idea to put your team at risk of losing a man advantage. Are you at a disadvantage because of a Killjoy ult, or perhaps they have more players left alive? Well, that could be your signal to play more aggressively and push forward for wider space control. Being able to assess situations on the fly and adapt accordingly is going to be one of the duelist mentalities that you really need to embody to improve your game sense and improve your mechanics along the way. So another aspect to consider when playing Duelist is finding which ones are closest to your playstyle and your personality. It's funny to say personality, but that's really the truth here. It's also the most fun part about learning to be a Duelist main, in my opinion, as well. So let's say you're able to move gracefully with Jett and Raze while fulfilling your role as a Duelist. Then on different games, you can't seem to get the hang of Yoru's kit and you end up becoming an easy target for the enemy team. Well, that's completely fine. Don't worry about it. You don't have to master every single Duelist available in Valorant. The same applies if you're not that well versed with mobility agents like Raze, Jett, and Neon, but you do play a mean Reyna or Phoenix. There's absolutely nothing wrong with any of that. You don't have to pattern your game and personality to what you see from pro players in the meta every single time. Exuding confidence as a duelist really starts from being comfortable with what you're doing. Therefore, you should find a duelist or two that you really enjoy playing and focus on improving your mechanics with them. If you like to play with Phoenix, learn different ways to flash to mix up your game. You fancy playing ISO though? Better start practicing more on training bots in the range. It's all about finding what's right for you and consistently honing your unique set of skills. After all, there's nothing better than improving your game while having fun with what you're doing. Anyway, hopefully you learned something from this video, or at least just enjoyed the watch, enjoyed listening. And if you're looking to rank up this act, then let me tell you, we can help you out today to get you back on track and climbing right away. Now, as I mentioned with our brand new Calm Aim course, we're going to teach you everything you need to know about how aiming has developed over the last 10 years. We're going to teach you the established, proper technique that the aim pros use to maximize their accuracy and whiff far, far less. Aiming can feel so dang hard sometimes, but we're going to help to make it so dang stupid simple and get you ranking up in no time, or we're just going to give you your money back. And don't forget that site subscribers also get direct access to our coaches in Discord, so you can get personalized feedback just for you. Nobody understands how to climb out of low elo more than us. So if you're looking to rank up, be sure to check out SkillCapped using the link below, and I'll catch you in the next one.